Government has been singing the same tune for years, and yet there seems to be little to no change in gender-based violence in our country. While women and children continue to suffer, there are concerns over funds being withheld by officials. When women and children will feel safe or at home in their own country remains a million-dollar question. GBV activist and senior lecturer at the University of Johannesburg, Professor Corne joins me now to react to the State of the Nation address. Prof, thank you very much for your time. Now, of course, yesterday the president, speaking about the fact that the police ministry, or the SAPS rather, is welcoming a cohort of new police officers. 10,000 were welcomed earlier this year. Does this give you any comfort in terms of the fight against crime and GBV?
Well, comfort is a strong word. As you know, like we said, there's been a lot of communication about the topic, and I believe we are making some progress. But just employing more police officers is not going to solve our problem. We still have other fundamental problems, and it includes all stakeholders, not just the government. It includes all of us, academia, private sector, civil society. So to the extent that we can facilitate collaboration, that is a key factor in making progress with gender-based violence, in my opinion.
He also spoke about the Tutuzela centers and trying to make sure as government that, women are given more economic emancipation. Did he say enough? Did what he say, give you any positive feel that there is something that's going to happen? Or because he's been saying this for a number of years, even the presidents before him have said this, is it just another speech for you?
You see, we need to see some concrete action that's going to empower women. What is actually being done? You know, one of the greatest challenges we have is still places of safety for women to be able to leave environments in which they experience gender-based violence. So until we see that there is funding provided to achieve this empowerment, I suspect we're going to remain a little bit skeptical. We want to see more action than words.
He spoke about, a wider gender acceptance of women when it comes to business, saying that he's seen a difference since his last State of the Nation address in terms of people giving more opportunity to women when it comes to business. And he says this is what will assist in terms of women empowerment so that women don't end up with men that abuse them, etc. Have you seen that difference on the ground?
We've not really seen it on the ground. What we have seen, if you look, for example, at the last PricewaterhouseCoopers report, you've seen there's been more women filling board membership, for example. But if you look at the top executive positions filled in industry, it is still predominantly filled by men. Very few women CEOs. So we need to see a stronger move towards appointing women in senior leadership positions and making sure that there are more equal opportunities. We are making some progress, but there's not evidence in the books to show that this has been achieved yet. It must be high on the agenda.
And Prof, he did mention, of course, children as well, particularly when it comes to basic education. And earlier this week, the former deputy president of the country, Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, and other, people who form part of this research showed that only 12% of, South African children are reading for meaning and understanding. And that's, very alarming statistics. Do you think that the president said enough in his State of the Nation address to talk about the solutions that he has when it comes to our basic education and the quality of it in South Africa?
No, I don't think enough is being done yet either. I think there must be a much more concerted effort, Like I always emphasize, it's about collaboration, but the problems that we have are fundamental. You will remember during, for example, the lockdown, the COVID pandemic, the prevalence of child pregnancies that occurred in this country. So there are really serious, alarming problems about education of children and protection of children. So it speaks to even far more than their ability to read. It's their ability to be safe And that is a priority that should receive a lot more attention. Not enough is being said about that.
And of course, this doesn't end only with the President's State of the Nation address. It's also the responsibility of the Basic Education Department and all its stakeholders to implement some of the plans that the President discusses in his State of the Nation addresses, actually, throughout the courses of different years that he presents it to us. So I just want to know from you, in terms of what the Basic Education Ministry does, you know, are they implementing what the President is saying, or not really? It just depends which area.
The problem is that it's the visibility of this implementation. Where do we see the effect? How do we see the positive outcomes? Because a lot is being said. I mean, I know, for example, from working with NGOs such as Tears Foundation, that there is collaboration taking place, that there is an outreach to educate children more, to protect children more. But this needs to become a lot more visible for us to develop confidence that the systems are actually fulfilling their roles sufficiently.
And I mean, visible is also the question around security in both our universities and even at schools as well, after we've seen some of the things that have been happening at these institutions. Prof, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. That was Professor Corne Davis from the University of Johannesburg.